about the food you eat every day. You probably know how much that food costs. But do you know why? And did you know that what influences the cost of your food also plays a very important part in food security and climate change? Policies that influence all these issues are what we call agricultural policies. In Latin America and the Caribbean, 50 million people go hungry every day. What's more, agricultural activity accounts for 30% of total greenhouse gas emissions worldwide. And all of this is influenced by the agricultural and trade policy decisions that countries make. These decisions affect issues ranging from food security, which means the availability, access, and consumption of healthy and nutritional food, to the amount of greenhouse gas emissions in the atmosphere. In other words, agricultural public policies are needed to reverse these situations. Would you like to learn more? The Inter-American Development Bank has prepared an online course called Agrimonitor, in which you can learn about these important issues.
If food security of millions of people and climate change concern you, then this MOOC, regardless of your knowledge level, is for you.
Agrimonitor will bring you closer to agricultural policies. It will help you to understand the reality and the incentives to the different actors in the agricultural sector and the impacts of public policy decisions on these actors, food security, and climate change.
And the best thing, together we will identify a set of innovative solutions that can improve the welfare of each actor.
What are you waiting for? Take the challenge and be part of the Agrimonitor MOOC.
And welcome back. And there you had a video to set the tone for today's conversation. I have with me at this time representatives of the IDB. We're joined by the country representative for Belize, Cassandra Rogers, and also by Sybille Nuenninghoff, who is the Natural Resources Lead Specialist in the Infrastructure and Environment sector. Good morning, ladies, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having us.
I must say, you guys look really comfortable. You look nice. The conversation is going to be great.
They look like morning people, right?
They look like morning people.
And I want to start off, of course, Cassandra, this is the first opportunity that we have to have you on the show. And we know how important the role of IDB is in Belize. And being the country representative obviously means that you have quite a wide scope of experience and current knowledge as to what's happening in the country. So let's just get a little bit of a background about you. You're originally from Trinidad.
Yes, I am from Trinidad and Tobago, Trini to the bone,
Yes.
as we say. And I have, actually November the 1st would be 10 years of service at the Inter-American Development Bank at the IDB. My profession is really in disaster risk management. I have long decades of experience in disaster risk management in the Caribbean, and I've done a significant amount of work supporting disaster risk management in Belize through the IDB, as well as in my former post at the Caribbean Development Bank. So I'm very, very pleased and privileged to serve the IDB in Belize, one of my very favorite countries.
So, over the course of the past year, obviously being fully indoctrinated into culture and programs and just different areas of priority, what are some of the things that have stood out to you over that time?
Several. I think Belize, we say Belize is a country with one foot in Central America and one foot in the Caribbean. And to me, that is the uniqueness of Belize as an IDB member country, because it has the advantage of being able to share that double experience on both sides, both on the Central American side as well as on the Caribbean side. Belize is also unique in terms of the abundance and value of its natural resources and the significance of its natural resources to the economy. And this is one of the reasons why the bank's approach to supporting the sustainable development of Belize is very much focused on the preservation of those natural resources and the services associated with them.
You know, I really like where you're coming from with it. And folks should know that the uniqueness of this country is one that should stand out. A foot here and a foot here. we've got much more than we ever thought that we could ever imagine of having. Now we've got on stream the Agrimonitor situation going on, agriculture policy, food security, and climate change. I was telling Marlene this morning, these topics I'm really excited to hear about. I'm really excited to learn about it. And I'm sure the entire country is as well. Let's scratch the globe on exactly what Agrimonitor is.
Yes.
Ms. Sybille.
Yeah, thank you so much and good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us here. It's really a great pleasure. Yes, what is Agrimonitor? I don't want to make it complicated.
Oh, of course.
I really want to keep it.
It's not
We are
going to
definitely
be.
not specialists.
Well, exactly. Agrimonitor actually is an online database. It was established in 2014 by the bank and in collaboration with all our member countries. That means data were collected in each countries, in the ministries of agriculture, and by the end of 2016, we hope we have the data from already 24 countries, and Belize will be one of them. So this information is actually there to understand better how agricultural policy is made. What are the indicators, how the decisions are made, and last but not least, why our food basket costs so much or less. Yeah. So this is a database we have, and we use this database to advise the governments, and also that the governments can actually, and everybody who is interested in agriculture, can go into the database and can compare the policies of the different countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. Because the IDB, as you know, is working in the countries in Latin America and the Caribbean.
Now, the IDB has done a substantial amount of work and investment within the agricultural sector in general. Let's talk about some of the areas that you have been partnering with the government with.
Well, it varies. Every 4 years, we work in close partnership and consultation with the government to develop what we call a country strategy. And that strategy outlines what are the main goals, what are the objectives, what are the priority areas that the bank will support over the period of that strategy. And the country strategy is aligned with the principal development policy or strategy of the government. So our current country strategy extends from 2013 to 2017, and so it is aligned with the medium-term development strategy. And the current strategy is designed to really help the government increase the efficiency of public spending, as well as to promote economic growth in the key productive sectors, focusing on 4 priority areas: on education, on tourism, on transport, as well as on trade and tax policy.
Excellent.
In addition to that, we also have what we call cross-cutting areas.
Right.
And those areas, of course, are climate change, disaster risk management, environment, very important, and diversity and gender. That means that all of the projects that we finance, that we design, will are required to address and incorporate this issue into their design and implementation.
I was just about to ask, because we know that being in this Caribbean, then again Central American basin, we know that disasters are always around, especially dealing with such hub as the IDB. It could be a scare tactic, especially in terms of investing, then again with the government in providing, especially when it comes to these projects. Can you elaborate more on it, especially when it comes to the disastrous, the whole natural disaster area of this in these projects?
Yeah. Well, the reality is, we all know, Hurricane Earl reminded us very recently that Belize is a country that's vulnerable to natural disasters, and in particular to hurricanes and tropical storms. Okay? The approach that the bank takes in supporting a country that is vulnerable. First, we do detailed studies So we have a program called Country Risk Indicators, which helps us identify which of our countries are vulnerable and which are not. And for the countries that are vulnerable, for example, Belize, it is very important, and it is part of our policy guidelines, that any support that we provide address this issue of vulnerability in a very explicit manner. So for example, if we are designing a project, let us say, for example, we have a program that we approved last year in sustainable tourism. It is incorporated in the tourism project. We will be looking at the vulnerability of the tourism destinations and making recommendations for mitigating any risks that have been identified associated with those destinations. So it is a requirement of the bank for all of our projects to address this issue of disaster and climate risk and make sure mitigation measures are incorporated into both the design as well as the implementation.
You know, this is such a fitting conversation. Yesterday we had the opportunity to sit down with the CEO of the Ministry of Agriculture. They were talking about World Food Day, but we got a chance to get some updates in terms of impact from Hurricane Earl. In addition to being able to mitigate the risks of potential natural disasters, which have really is now quite varied compared to just looking at hurricanes, as we primarily did in the past, hurricanes and floods. We look at earthquake risk, we look at tsunami risks, we have several different issues that can affect especially the agricultural sector. And now the world is finally talking and thinking about climate change. We saw in the past couple of years how the impacts of climate change is definitely already directly impacting agriculture. We have extended periods of dry, which are outside of the typical dry season. So there was a drought that would have impacted some farmers. We know that the rains aren't as predictable as they used to be. The temperatures fluctuate quite a bit, and the intensities of the storms have changed quite a bit. Now, looking at it from the IDB perspective, because I know you're very policy driven, how do you help your member countries prepare for what is essentially the unknown at this point in time? How is it being done in other countries, and what's being done to help the Belizean agricultural sector and government entities to also be up to speed?
Do you want to respond to that, Sybille, or should I?
No, it's actually the specialist decided at the beginning. So.
Okay, well, as I said earlier, the strategy is as follows. You want to be very proactive. And this is, quite frankly, part of the issue that increases our vulnerability, that we are not well prepared, that we are not even aware of what is the nature or the magnitude of the risk associated with some of these hazards. So in the case of the agriculture sector, and this will apply to any sector, the first critical step is to understand what is your level of vulnerability and risk. And that requires you, therefore, to do a diagnostic study, an assessment of the vulnerability in the sector itself. And in fact, you mentioned Hurricane Earl. In fact, the bank, at the request of the government, has financed an assessment of the socioeconomic effects of Hurricane Earl. And we have seen and shared with the government a preliminary report. We don't have a final report just yet. We'll get it in a couple of weeks. But that is already signaling some of the issues related to Belize in general and to the agriculture sector in particular, in terms of the need for there to be more information on the vulnerability of the sector, of the vulnerability of different types of crops, etc., etc. And therefore, what are the measures that you need to put in practice in order to reduce that identified level of risk. And this is the approach that we take not only in Belize, but we take in all of our countries. The key issue and limitation of several of our countries is the fact that we have not been sufficiently proactive. We need to be aware of what our risk is so that we could automatically reduce the vulnerability before the event presents itself. And then your losses, of course, will be significantly lower.
I could hear the passion in her voice when it comes to dealing with this
That's
situation.
why I said.
Yes, you know. So you got
her talk.
But she's the agriculture specialist.
Sybille, and that's exactly where I was going to, because Sybille, listening to what you mentioned about the Agrimonitor,
Right.
it seems that it's fairly new to Belize. Now, what is the reaction like, especially working with your counterparts, the folks that you're working with here in Belize? Are we taking heed of this, and what should we do more?
Yes, Agrimonitor, in fact, yes, it is new, as I said. Not only for Belize, actually for all our member countries. And we certainly get the information, as I said at the beginning, from our counterparts, from the agricultural stakeholders, from the Ministry of Agriculture, from the Bureau of Statistics. And I think this is certainly also a point, that at the same time we support these institutions to improve the data information and data collection, because everything is based on data. When you have good data, you can do better decisions. So I think this is one thing which is very, very important, and I definitively think that everybody is in Belize now very well aware of the situations that we have to work on data collection and to have better data. It was interesting, it's about 2 months ago, we had also with the bank session, a workshop, where we invited all governmental and private stakeholders to make an assessment of the data availability in the country. And it was amazing how many people actually came from all over the place, from education to tourism, agriculture, from everywhere, to participate in this, to assess what we have in Belize and what we need to improve. So I think we are quite good in this, and the Agrimonitor is also good and bad based on the data we will collect. That I have to say.
Now, this is such an important point, and I think in all credit, we know we had a conversation with the Ministry of Human Development, who recently launched Belize Info, once again underscoring the need that we need the evidence and the data for the policy decisions that we're going to make and the investments that will take place. And while there's data available in individual sectors, but very, very often there isn't a common hub to be able to have it accessed by all, and also to have the proper analysis done. Is this what Agrimonitor offers? Is it a hub for the data coming in, or is it an individual monitoring tool for members in the sector?
Well, right now the bank is supporting the countries, the member countries, to collect the data. And as you said, it is not just data from 1 year. We need to have data sets all over. Our data sets in some countries start in 2003, others start in 2010. Though we actually right now approved new, what we call technical assistance, a grant, which will support the member countries, and here we focus especially on Central America, which includes also Belize, to continue with the data collection. Not only to continue, but also for training that the ministries and the Bureau of Statistics actually can, by themselves, collect the data continuously. And these data will actually go into the Agrimonitor. So it is really something which is not statistic. It is something which is ongoing, and with the improvement of the data, we will have better information. And
what type of data are we talking about?
This I was just about
to. Well, it is the prices, border prices, farm prices of commodities. It is. We are looking on what we call producer support estimates. How a country is supporting the producers in the agricultural sector, or what is the impact of the total support of the GDP. And also we are also looking on the consumer side. What is a consumer support estimate in each country? And then when all this data are in, sure, we look at the first place on the main commodities, yeah, for each country. Like in here in Belize, like sugar, bananas, other fruit and vegetables, rice, cattle, livestock, yeah. So and then you can actually compare also these data with other countries, yeah, and how
we're doing.
How each country is actually, based on this data, formulating its own agricultural policy. It is really very, very exciting.
Agriculture to every country is like extremely important. It is what we do. It's a way of life. It's what we eat.
And part of our GDP.
Huge part of the GDP.
Definitely.
We mentioned data, and Marlene asked the question, but here we go again with what is Belize's data saying? What are we lacking in? What do we have more of? What is our data saying?
He already wants to know this. I would love that everybody goes into Agrimonitor and looks on it, yeah. And as I said, the data will be available by the end of the year,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
in Belize, and we are working with the government of Belize and the Ministry of Agriculture on this. So I really would like to give everybody the opportunity to look on it and to learn about how it works.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the key part of why we're here this morning, to talk about how it works, right?
Yes.
Now, and this is so important. I always tell people, you know, sometimes agencies work like Field of Dreams. They build it and they hope they'll come. But this isn't what we're hoping for with Agrimonitor. You want to be able to offer this tool for the sector to be able to use, but you're also offering the skills on how to use it. Cassandra, tell us a bit about how that will be facilitated.
Well, it is being facilitated through what is called MOOCs, which refers to massive online open courses. MOOCs is a platform. It is being delivered across an online platform that has been developed by Harvard University and MIT. And the bank has partnered with Harvard and MIT to deliver this course on Agrimonitor.
Nice.
One thing I did want to share was that this is a classic example. The delivery and the availability of this course on Agrimonitor is a very good example of the bank's support to countries through the mechanism of knowledge transfer. You know, many people think we are a bank and therefore all we do is lend money, but that is the issue of loans is a very important part of our program. But we also offer grants, we offer technical assistance, and an important component also is knowledge transfer. So this is a good example where the bank is using its vast technical expertise in this area, working with countries, consolidating all of that information, and then making it available to the public. So it is a real important opportunity for Belizeans with experience in agriculture to really have access to these systems.
Who's best fit to sign up for these courses? Who would you like to see get online and register to be a part of MOOCs?
Exactly. Actually, I would like to see everybody who is interested in agriculture.
John sounds very
As
interested.
I said,
So that's possible. Yeah.
we have on Sunday the World Food Day,
Yeah.
and you were mentioning it is so important for everybody, for us, to really understand why something in the supermarket or in the market costs such. Sure, I would like to see everybody who has interest in agriculture to go enroll in this course. But at the first place, certainly it will be the stakeholders in agriculture.
Okay.
And there we start with universities, with students of agriculture and related areas. We talk about public service servants, like in the Ministry of Agriculture, but we also talk about the private sector, producer associations, cooperatives, farmer associations, everybody who wants to know more about the agricultural policy and how agricultural policy actually is formulated.
How do we, because time is of the essence, and this is what strikes me every time we're sitting here having a conversation, Myanmar. How do we sign up for these courses, and what's the duration of the course?
Yes, right, sure. That's very important. Actually, the course will start the 25th of October and goes for over 5 weeks. For 1 week, you should somehow plan 6 hours, and then you can actually work with the tools which are offered. There are 5 tools which are offered, and you will get really an understanding of the agricultural policies and how they are linked to other indicators. Though 5 weeks and just 6 hours. What are 6 hours a week? This is nothing.
How intense is it? I mean, that's the time factor, but how intense is the course? How involved will someone need to be in the course?
Well, sure, the 6 hours, somebody has to follow videos, we will see. We have several instructors. Actually, we have also CEO José Alpuche as instructor in the course.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he will talk to us about the sugar sector in Belize. So I think this is very, very interesting, and different universities. Though, sure, 6 hours a week we would need to concentrate on the material. You will find all online.
Okay.
Yeah.
The course is online.
The course is online. MOOC means massive, that everybody can participate. Online, open course.
Okay.
And it's free.
Okay.
And it's free.
I was going to say the most important question we have to ask you is the cost, and that's good news there.
Exactly. The only thing what we also are able to give certificates. Though if somebody wants a certificate, for instance, for his CV or for any other professional needs, there is a cost related. It is $25 US. But these $25 US are not for the bank. These $25 US, and Cassandra was mentioning it, are actually for the platform. Yes, for the edx.org platform, to maintain the platform. But the course is totally free.
And once you're interested, you can sign up.
Definitively. And
5 weeks, 6 hours a week, on your own timing, when you have time available.
Exactly.
Right?
You can do it in the middle of the night. You can do it
when the kids are
weekend.
sleeping.
Exactly. When the
And 6
kids
hours
are
a week is not, it's
It
what,
is
1
really
hour
not.
a day?
I think it is.
Most importantly, where do I go to sign up?
Right. You go to the edx.org platform, and then you choose Agrimonitor, and then you have a window which says enroll now, and then you give your information in the system. Actually, what we are planning on Monday is that we have 2 information sessions.
Okay.
It will be Monday morning in the Central Farm on the university campus. From 9 to 12 I will be there. We will present. We will talk a little bit also and more about what we can find in the course. And we will also help everybody who is interested to sign up and how it works. And in the afternoon we will be in Belmopan from 2 until 5 o'clock, and it is in the on the hospital campus and the National Vaccine Facility in the conference room.
Okay.
So everybody who is interested will be available, can join us during these 2 information sessions, and can learn how to sign up. But if for some reason somebody cannot actually join us on Monday, we are here in Belize City. It is just to call us. We will give you the information. We have also flyers, which gives the information. And though I think everybody who is interested will have an opportunity to participate in this.
And you can call us at 221, since we're having this opportunity, 221-5300 here in Belize City, or you can email us at idbbelize@iadb.org.
And I walk into, is there a particular, because you did mention that if I'm not able to make it to Central Farm or to Brahmapan, where do I go in Belize City?
Well, you can come to our office. If you need some additional information, I will be there the entire next week in the office. We can even set up, if there is a need, set up a computer, and we can specific people show how they can participate.
It's
but
a
we will also
free
have
online course. That's the most important thing we want to tell people.
Exactly.
Definitely geared towards those who are already in the agricultural sector, but also for those who are interested as well. The website, once again, is www.edx.org. You can register online there for the Agrimonitor course. It starts the 25th of October, goes for 5 weeks, 6 hours a week. That's your commitment. You can definitely be able to manage that, and we encourage people to be able to take advantage of it.
Of course.
Once again, the cost is free, just the determination to complete the course, right?
Yeah,
I want to see. Go ahead.
We have,
Yes,
we
we
already have Belize applicants.
Yes, exactly.
That's
We look
great.
every week. We look in our database to see, and we have already 20 participants of Belize
Okay.
who are already signed up.
And
So-
just for folks to know that it is, especially getting on in a new course, it is important to have it on your CV. So again, if you want your certificate, only $25 US.
And once again, this is not for the IDB, it's for the maintenance of the platform. And there's also actually something I would like to add. We will have, all the participants who finalize the course will be evaluated, and the best, they will be invited to participate in a short essay how they would actually elaborate agricultural policy for one country. And the IDB, our team, will select the best students, and they have the opportunity to submit a research proposal, and we will finance this between
fantastic.
$5,000 to $10,000 US.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Good opportunity.
Well,
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you guys so very much. Excellent conversation. Sybille Nuenninghoff, thank you. And of course, Cassandra Rogers, IDB country representative, thank you so very much. On this lovely Thursday morning, which feels so nice, excellent conversation. In our second segment, pesticides control. That and more when we come back.